Hi and welcome back. I've decided to make a few changes to the channel. So from now on I'll be doing furniture restoration, but I'll also be doing general woodworking and some project ideas that maybe have helped to other people.
Hello and welcome to Ruth Restorations. Today in this video we'll be making some Numicons, and if you stick around till the end you'll see me learning with them.
I'm going to be using all the pieces I can from an old oak TV stand. This is the back part. It's laminated from many pieces, but it's stable, so I'm going to be using it for this project. What I did first was obviously take the board and rip it down into the appropriate widths. What I'll do now is I'll take it over to the chop saw, cut it to length, and then we'll process it further from there. I've got an original piece from another set, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to set up a stop block on the saw so that I can cut all the pieces exactly the same length. So I'll just drop that down there, put it up against the blade, got that there. And then I can put that on there to give me an accurate stop. Here's one of the strips I cut earlier on the table saw. Now I'm going to chop 5 equal pieces from it. And finally, piece number 5. So here we can see the 5 pieces that I've just cut, all the same length, surprisingly. What I need to do now is a little bit of sanding just to try and take the rough edges off to begin with. I'll give them a final sanding at the end, but I just want to make sure there's no sharp edges to cut myself on while I'm working, as oak is notorious for being able to do that. So it's a really simple process, this one. I'm just going to use a sanding block and just, for now, just take the edges off. I've already taken the edges off on the long length, so it's only these pieces really. So I'll do that, and then you can rejoin me as we move on to the next stage. Okay, so there we are, all done. I used this original piece as a template to create the stop block for cutting the pieces to the right length. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it as a template for drilling the holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my blank in there, pop this into the jig as well, which you can see is a good fit, and then I'm going to use the 19mm Forstner bit, put it into each of the holes, give it a bang to mark the centre for where it needs to be drilled out later. This way all the pieces should be the same size and they should all have the holes drilled in the same places, which doesn't really matter if I'm making a single set, but as this is a set of, there are 5 sets I'm making, if each set is different it's not going to fit together well and it's not going to be interchangeable. So by standardizing everything, hopefully we'll get 5 sets, and it doesn't matter whether you mix the sets and pieces up or not, everything should still fit. There's obviously a piece there because I haven't got a hole there, so if I just flick the template round, pop that in there, and then we can mark the last hole, and then we've got the initial marks in the piece, which I'll then use these guides to drill through. That will then provide the guide for the Forstner bit to go in and make everyone exactly the same. Next thing I'll do is just use a small drill bit and just drill these all the way through so that the Forstner bit has got a proper guide. And there we go, all ready for use. So now we've got this piece with the pilot holes, it's time to drill them out. It's easier just to drop the drill on, make it secure, then lift it up slightly before starting to drill. Just a few shavings to sort out now. Now we've got the holes cut, it's a little bit rough on this back side, but we'll just give that a quick rub over to make it safe for me. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a chamfer on each of these. I don't want this sharp edge left for the little children's fingers to go in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a chamfer. And to do that I'm going to use this strange looking device. It's actually for chamfering holes. It's designed for workbenches like this. So basically we have a 19mm hole here. We have a 19mm shaft there. So that actually runs through and sits central in the hole. On here, I don't know if you can see, there's actually a cutter. And what happens is as it goes round inside there, inside the hole, it actually cuts the chamfer. That obviously is done with a drill. So I'll chuck that up now and then I'll show you the next part. So now with the drill in place, with a bit in place, we just need to run it very slowly. So we put it into the first hole, run it up before it touches, and then just gently touch it. Don't push hard because you'll tear out the wood. And the last one on this side. Turn him upside down. Do a second side. And now you can see there's a nice chamfer on each of these. Again, I'll run some sandpaper over them before I finish them, but it makes it safer for the little fingers going in there. I've given everything a coat of this Gilboy's hard wax. It's food safe, it's child safe, so that's ideal for this, and it'll give them a bit of protection and stop them getting grubby. What I've got to do now is, having waxed them yesterday, there's a little bit of residual oil on, so to try and speed up the process, I'm just going to wipe off any excess now and get them to dry off a little bit quicker. You can see on the bottom there was a little bit of pooling where it was running through the circles. With that wiped off, it should speed up the process a little bit. Once this is done, I'll give them a little sand and a second coat, and then we get to the nerve-wracking part, which is actually cutting them into the shapes. Because all the work so far has been used to create these blanks. One mistake now, and it's all been a waste of time when I'm trying to cut out the final shapes into the pieces that are 1 through 9. So let's hope I don't make a mistake at the last second. The next part we need to deal with is, obviously these are now in tens. We need to start cutting them down into the numbers. So for example, we cut into an 8 and a 2. The same will obviously apply for a 9 and a 1, a 7 and a 3, 6 and a 4, and then 2 5s. The only problem I have really is that this is the saw I want to use, and the depth of cut is actually slightly less than the depth of this material. So I'm going to have to put it through the saw twice, and in fact some places I'll have to use the bandsaw as well. But it'll give me a more accurate cut, and that's what I need to try and keep these as interchangeable as possible. So let's start by cutting another 2. So I've got the stop block here so that I can cut the right distance. To try and push everything through simpler, I'll be using this. So that goes in there, that goes on there, and then in theory we should be able to push this through nice and gently. So on it goes. And you can now see that I've cut halfway through on both sides. And you can see the riving knife here doesn't allow me to push the piece all the way through and cut it in one go. It would be simpler to do that, but that would leave this blade here exposed, and I'm not in favour of chopping my fingers off, certainly not a second attempt. So what I'll be doing is I'll be using these, then taking them across to the bandsaw just to finish that last piece off. The bandsaw will tend to wander a little bit if you're not careful, but because I've cut through most of the way already, it will follow that path, so that should be okay.
Can you find number 10? Can you count the holes to check that you've got number 10 in Welsh?
And English?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Can you find another way to make 12 counting in Welsh?
And then in English?
Mm-hmm.
So, 4, 4, 5, 5, 3, and 3. That's how to make 12, counting in Welsh, but translating it to English.
Can you add number 4 and number 6 together, drawing a picture?
like a pencil.
Can you add the 4 and the 6 together?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope to see you again soon.